Hey guys, welcome to another recap of The Amazing Race. They were in Tokyo, Japan, and they're going to be flying to Lijiang, China. First of all, I want to say, if you guys could just pray for all the people in Japan that have been affected by the earthquake and the tsunami. It's devastating. It's really hard to watch the movies on YouTube and watch the news. So, all the best to the people who have been affected by the tragedy there. So let's get on with the race. Everybody's supposed to be on the same flight because there's limited availability on the flights. So once you get to China, you have to book your own travel, whatever you want, whether it be train or a flight to Lijiang. Kent and Vixen, and I'm going to say Kent because that's his name. I don't know why they have it as Kent. They had trouble finding their card first, and then they went the wrong way, and they had to go back. But they're trying to maintain a PMA, positive mental attitude, according to Kent. So the whole situation was pretty hilarious because Kent is very animated, and Vixen is just so sweet. So I love watching the interaction between the two of them. It's just so enjoyable to watch and funny. So they were the last ones to the airport, unfortunately, and unfortunately they also missed the flight that they were supposed to be on. So I'm thinking penalty, perhaps, when they check in. It was very emotional. Vixen was just having a really hard time because she does not want to disappoint Kent. She really doesn't, and she, it just sucks when you're in last place and you know it, and like you're way behind everybody else. It's like, why do I even continue? But Kent is not a quitter, and that's what she loves about him. So Ron and Christina, they're really annoying me this episode. They had to stop and get breakfast buns, and of course they're Chinese and they speak Chinese and they've been to Lijiang before, so of course they're feeling really cocky. Well, you know what happens when you get cocky. You end up losing, which I'm hoping is going to happen, but you never know. Vixen and Kent were having problems this entire leg of the race. She left her passport in the booking office. She went back and she got it. The shuttle bus, it didn't leave until 8 a.m., which gave them some time to catch up, but it wasn't enough because they weren't on the shuttle bus with everybody else. The first task for this leg is they have to saddle and ride a yak. Those guys who were in charge of the yaks had the most awesome hats ever. They were like these fur purses on their heads with like these giant feathers sticking straight up. They were insane. I love them. So then they had to ride a gondola, and the altitude was really affecting everybody. Everybody was just out of breath, just like, exerting themselves a little bit. So even Margie, who's from Colorado, was like, I'm from Colorado and this is really affecting me. So it was really beautiful though. The scenery, the mountains and the mist, and it was just amazing. I wish I could be lucky enough to get there one day. Alright, so it's time for the roadblock. They have to find the zodiac charms among like tens of thousands of these little plaques hanging up and put them in order. They have to get all 12 in order. So Luke was first arriving with his charms, but he didn't have them in the right order. It was pretty funny because Mallory was like, you have to put them in the right order. I think he can read lips, so I don't think you really had to drag it out that far, but whatever. Zev had a really hard time finding the rabbit. He was looking everywhere, and he was really getting frustrated. And then when he brought it over to assemble his little mobile, he didn't know that they had to be in order. So he started getting a little belligerent, a little bit too angry, and Justin had to tell him to like tone it down a little bit. Ron and Christina, they may speak Chinese, but you know what? Apparently they don't know how to read the clue in English. Because the next part was that they had to get on the marked bus, and they got on this little like safari trolley car thing, and Ron freaked out Christina fell off of it because that was the only way that she'd get the guy to stop it. It looked pretty dangerous, and then when Ron got off, he had a fit, and he threw something at one of the other buses to get it to stop. Really messed up. These two are, they're a real piece of work. All right, so at the Zodiac thing, Kent and Vixen finally caught up with Zev and Justin. And Justin said to Kent, what happened? Why were you guys so late? So Kent lied to Justin and said that his car broke down and that's why they missed the flight. I thought that was kind of cheap, but I mean, if you're going to resort to lying on the race, whatever. Zev finally finished because he had 2 of one thing and he needed to get another one. Vixen was totally having a meltdown when she saw that they had finished. But she stuck with it, just like Kent would, and they finally got it. Alright, so then they had to go and make a Zodiac wish, and the Globetrotters didn't know what their signs were, so that put a little damper on the situation for them. But then the next part was a detour. It was either hammer or horn. The hammer one, you had to make candy by beating it with a hammer, both of the teammates. And horn, you had to pick up this gigantor horn and lead a procession of dancers to get the next clue. So everybody did the candy except for the Globetrotters and Zev and Justin. Ron was really getting on my last nerve because apparently he really likes to eat. Maybe he's got a fast metabolism. I don't know. I don't think he's fat. So he was eating the candy as they were making it. And that was really, it's like my pet peeve when we go to the fast food, which is not very often anymore, but if my husband eats the french fries in the car before we get home and everyone has an equal shot at them, I get really angry. I'm sorry, it's just a little pet peeve of mine. So the pit stop was this Eternal Tower place. Margie and Luke snuck in first and they won a trip for 2 to Aruba. But guess what, kids? Still racing, just like the first episode. Then Jet and Cord, Gary and Mallory, Ron and Christina, Keisha and Jen, the Globetrotters, and Jamie and Kara, which means Zev and Justin have not checked in yet, and Kent and Vixen have not checked in yet. Zev and Justin, like I said a second ago, chose the horn one, and they left a little hanging, you know, are they going the right way kind of thing. I guess they had to do that because it's pretty obvious that Kent and Vixen are not going to be in the race next week. They lost their fanny pack containing all their passports and money and everything on the gondola. So they're going to have to go back and get it, and they were already on the bus, and the guy who was driving the bus couldn't turn it around, so I mean, they're wasting even more time. So next time the big tease is, are Kent and Vixen going to be able to find their passports? I'm going to say probably not. So that's a shame because I really enjoyed watching them on the race, but I guess the race is all about tragedies and miracles, says Kent, so we'll have to wait till next week to find out. Till next time, much love.